If you bought a tool in the last 2 years just because a YouTuber said it changes everything, there's a good chance one of the 6 items on this list already cost you money you didn't need to spend. Woodworkers online, from Sawmill Creek to Reddit's woodworking forums, have spent years arguing about which brands justify their price tags and which ones are selling a name, not a result. Some of these tools genuinely earn every extra dollar. Others are paying for engineering you'll never use in a home shop. 6 tools, counting down from the one that's overpriced but almost gets away with it, to the one that woodworkers keep buying anyway, even while admitting out loud that it doesn't make sense. Stick around for number 1. It's the tool with the widest gap between price and actual advantage over a $50 alternative, and it might change what's sitting in your cart right now. This ranking is built from real pricing on Festool, Woodpeckers, SawStop, and Lie-Nielsen products, compared against their direct competitors, cross-checked against long-running discussion threads on Festool Owners Group, Sawmill Creek, Contractor Talk, and Reddit's woodworking community, plus published shop reviews from Pro Tool Reviews, Fine Home Building, and Family Handyman. Every dollar figure and every quote referenced here comes from those sources. No invented numbers, no guest satisfaction scores. Number 6, the Festool TS55 track saw, a tool that's overpriced by maybe 40%, but close enough to justify that plenty of pros still defend it. The impact claim first, this is the saw that built Festool's reputation as the system brand, and it's also the saw most frequently compared dollar for dollar against a cheaper rival on every forum thread about track saws. Here's a hard number. The TS55 retails between $660 and $669, while the Makita SP6000J, same 55-inch rail length, same plunge cut function, sells for $379 to $409. That's a premium of roughly $250 to $290 for what one Festool Owners Group member flatly said just doesn't pencil out against the Makita on his own tracks. The consequence in the shop is straightforward. That price difference is enough to buy a full set of domino tenons, or a decent random orbital sander, or 3 months of blades and consumables. A hobbyist who breaks down 4 sheets of plywood a year is paying pro shop prices for a feature set they'll barely stress test. Second data point, refurbished Makita SP6000 units have sold for around $220 through CPO outlets, paired with aftermarket guide rails for another $112. A full functional setup at less than half the Festool cost. According to woodworkers who've run both side by side, the human angle here is the weekend woodworker with a SawStop already handling most rip cuts, who only needs a track saw occasionally for breaking down sheet goods. Exactly the profile of the person who admitted the TS55 didn't pencil out for his own use case. For someone cutting daily in a cabinet shop, the story flips. Better dust sealing, a track system that stays precise for over a decade, and resale value that holds. But for the occasional user, this is money spent on a feature they'll rarely lean on. But the next tool on this list drops the same logic into a category where the price premium buys almost nothing measurable at all. And woodworkers online have started calling it out by name. Number 5, the Festool CT6 dust extractor. And this is where one forum reviewer's own words do the heavy lifting. I think it's a fantastic vacuum, but the price is ludicrous even for a Festool. The CT26 retails for roughly $573 to $590, sometimes seen on clearance at $590 from Rockler against an $800 list price. A basic 12-gallon shop vac, meanwhile, retails for about $109.99 with attachments. That's a 5 times price gap for what is, on paper, still a shop vacuum. Second data point. The CT26 produces 138 CFM of suction and runs at 62 to 71 decibels, quieter than most contractor-grade extractors, but not dramatically more powerful than a well-built aftermarket shop vac paired with a cyclone separator, which several Sawmill Creek members pointed out costs a fraction as much for similar dust capture. Third, one long-time professional user on Festool Owners Group noted his unit is ancient and looks like junk, but still performs like new after burning through 3 competing Nilfisk vacuums in the same period. A real durability argument, but one that mostly pays off for someone running the tool daily, not for a weekend shop. For the hobbyist who vacuums up after a Saturday project, the CT26 is buying continuous duty motor cooling and auto start switching that a $110 shop vac with a HEPA bag and a dust deputy front end can approximate for 1/10 of the price, according to the very threads Festool owners use to justify the purchase. The next item on this list isn't a single tool. It's an entire category of precision layout gear that costs 10 times what a functionally identical tool costs at the hardware store. Number 4. Lie-Nielsen bench and specialty planes, beautifully made bronze and steel tools that command prices most beginning woodworkers assume must be a typo. Real numbers from the secondary market alone tell the story. A Lie-Nielsen number 71 large router plane sells used for around $230, a number 112 large scraping plane for roughly $500, and a number 7 jointer plane, new old stock from 2005, sold for $800. Compare that to Stanley's own modern premium line. The number 4 Sweetheart bench plane retails new for $289.95, or to vintage Stanley Bailey planes, which regularly sell in working condition for $30 to $150 on eBay. Second data point, even Lie-Nielsen's smaller specialty tools carry weight in the secondary market, with the number 97 1-2 small chisel plane, lightly used, still commanding $160. The consequence for a hobbyist is real. A full set of 3 Lie-Nielsen bench planes, smoother, jack, jointer, can run past now $200, while a set of tuned vintage Stanleys, the exact tools that built American furniture for a century, can be assembled for $200 to $400 with some patience and a sharpening stone. The honest counterpoint from woodworkers who own both, Lie-Nielsen's flatness tolerances and A2 steel hold an edge longer between sharpenings, which matters to someone hand-planing hardwood tabletops daily. For someone building a bookshelf twice a year, that edge retention gain rarely offsets the price gap. The plane sits in a drawer looking gorgeous either way. But the next item on this countdown is where you're paying for the name stops being a rumor and becomes something woodworkers say almost word for word, tool after tool. Number 3, Woodpeckers, precision squares and straight edges, a brand where the markup over a hardware store equivalent is the steepest on this entire list, and where even fans admit it out loud. The numbers. A Woodpeckers 34114 straddle square sells for $63.99. A set of 8 precision squares runs $210, and the brand's one-time tool, 4590 triangle set, has sold for $750. Meanwhile, a Swanson Speed Square, the tool doing the same 90-degree layout job on millions of job sites, sells for $12.99 to $14.93, and a Milwaukee 7-inch rafter square runs $79.99 to $29.49. Second data point, straight from a Slick Deals thread on a Woodpecker Cerex 24-inch precision straight edge, rated to 0.015 inches of tolerance per foot, on sale at $69.99, down from $100. One commenter wrote, like all of their tools, nice tool, but I think that is still too much, even at 30% off. Third, a shop teacher who's used woodpeckers tools with teenagers for over 20 years defended the brand precisely because of that same price gap, saying the precision fence and stop on a woodpecker's miter gauge changes how his students experience a cut compared to a cheap equivalent. A genuine argument, but one built for classroom-level daily abuse, not a garage that gets used 2 weekends a month. The consequence for most home shops, a Swanson square gets you square cuts on 95% of projects for a fraction of the cost. And the 0.0015-inch tolerance a woodpecker's straight edge advertises is a spec that matters to a pattern maker or an instrument builder, not to someone building a router table. The next item drops the price gap by a factor and adds a genuine safety argument to the equation, which is exactly why it's still controversial. Number 2, saw stop table saws. The tool most likely to start an actual argument in a woodworking forum because, unlike everything else on this list, the premium here is tied to a safety feature, not just fit and finish. The numbers. SawStop's professional cabinet saws with 30 to 36-inch fences retail between $350 and $3,786, while its portable job site saws run $974 to $2,149. Direct competitors like DeWalt and Bosch offer comparable 10-inch job site saws that, according to Family Handyman's own testing, average about a third less than the SawStop equivalent, with some competing models available for under $400 and value options like the Cobalt 10-inch saw at $349. Second data point from a longtime tool reviewer, if you mostly want a high-quality saw, then I think SawStop is way overpriced for their features and quality. Break aside. That break aside is doing all the work in that sentence. The flesh detection braking technology is the entire premium, not the fence motor or table quality, which reviewers rate as comparable to DeWalt and Bosch's job site saws. Third, the same review notes SawStop's competitors offer wheeled stands for job site transport as standard, a feature SawStop's own reviewer said he wished had been included, meaning you're not even getting a portability edge for the extra cost. For a hobbyist with steady hands and good habits, that's a $1,000 plus premium for a safety net they may never need to use. For a shop teacher, a professional cutting daily, or anyone who's had a close call with a blade before, that same premium is the cheapest insurance policy in the entire workshop, which is exactly why this tool splits opinion instead of getting dismissed outright. That leaves one tool left, the one with the single biggest gap between sticker price and the price of the tool doing 90% of the same job. Number 1, the Festool Domino XL Joiner, the widest price-to-function gap on this entire list, and the tool woodworkers themselves keep flagging as the hardest one to defend with a straight face. Start with the number. That defines the whole entry. The Domino DF500 retails for $1,359, and the larger XL700 model goes for $1,849. A basic dowel jig, by contrast, costs around $50. A quality biscuit joiner from a mainstream brand runs $50 to $300. Second data point, quoted directly from a Reddit discussion on the tool's value, if you are making significant income from woodworking or money is no object, it's hard to argue against a Domino. If you aren't, and it is, it's hard to argue against saving $500 and using a doweling jig. Another woodworker in that same thread put it even more bluntly, a good dowel jig is maybe $50, and a nice biscuit joiner is $300, and the Festool is not $1,000 better. Third data point. Even loyal owners admit the accessory costs stack fast. A Festool domino tenon and cutter assortment alone runs $230 to $395 on top of the tool price. And buyers on Lumberjocks describe Festool's pricing pattern as get one as fast as you can. Their only sale is when they announce to buy it before they increase their prices. Here's the honest full picture, because this tool does have real defenders. A cabinet maker who's used the DF500 for 15 years, writing for Fine Home Building, said his skepticism about the price started to disappear once he'd built a few projects with it. The mortises are precisely sized, the joint is faster than a hand-cut mortise and tenon, and it holds up over 15 years of daily shop use. For someone building doors, gates, and custom furniture for a living, that speed and repeatability pays the tool off in labor hours saved. For a hobbyist building a bookshelf twice a year, that same tool sits in a drawer next to a $50 dowel jig that would have done the exact same joint on the exact same weekend project. The number one lesson of this entire countdown lives right here. The tool isn't overpriced because it's bad. It's overpriced for the person buying it for the wrong reason. None of the 6 tools on this list are actually bad tools. Every one of them earns its price tag for somebody. The real lesson isn't about brand or sticker shock at all. It's that the price only makes sense next to how many hours a year you'll actually put the tool to work. A domino, a saw stop, a set of woodpecker squares, they're all professional-grade answers to hobbyist frequency problems, and that mismatch, not the price itself, is what actually empties your wallet. So which one's sitting in your shop right now? The tool you use every week, or the one you bought because everyone else had it? Drop it in the comments, and if this saved you from an impulse buy, share it with the woodworker in your life who's about to make the same mistake.